49ers. Oh, wasn't that beautiful seeing them choke away a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl again? Ha! So great last night. I got to say, I had to take a moment before we get to today's news of all having a laugh at the 49ers. Pour one out as the Niners lose. Kyle Shanahan chokes again. Thank you, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, for not letting the Niners take home the Lombardi Trophy. Like the video for that Niners choke job. We'll get started with today's show. Welcome to Seattle. Scott Huff from the Alabama staff is coming to the Seahawks as the new offensive line coach. And he is very familiar with the Pacific Northwest, as he was not in Alabama for long. He was on the Washington staff with Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, and followed DeBoer and Grubb ultimately to Alabama. Grubb over the weekend gets hired as the Seahawks OC, and now he is bringing Scott Huff with him. Let's tell you more about Huff, the Seahawks' new offensive line coach. It was a short stint for Huff in Tuscaloosa, just a couple weeks, if that. But his roots run deep with the Huskies, as he was the O-line coach from 2020 to 2023, and before that was the offensive line and run game coordinator for the Huskies from 2017 to 2019, and was a part of several different staffs with the Washington Huskies. So despite his short stint in Tuscaloosa, there's still some loyalty in his track record of the time that he was there with Washington. Now, when we dive into this hiring, and we'll tell you more and go over kind of these specifics here in just a moment, I can't find any reason not to like the hiring of Scott Huff as the Seahawks offensive line coach. Not only does he have a great track record, but you talk about the familiarity. This is somebody that Ryan Grubb knows as well as anybody. We've talked about how Mike Macdonald, this staff, he has found guys that he's worked with that he knows. Same can be said here with Ryan Grubb. It's a guy that he knows and trusts. Huff was named the top offensive line coach in all of college football in 2023 with that Huskies group that was just fantastic this past season. You go back to 2022, and Washington's O-line allowed just 7 sacks in 13 games. That was the second fewest in all of the Football Bowl subdivision. And then last year, the Washington offensive line ranked second in the FBS in expected points added. So what that means is that the Washington Huskies offensive line had the second most impact of any offensive line directly when it came to scoring there in all of college football. So a great track record, to say the least, when it comes to Scott Huff. What is your one-word reaction to the Seahawks hiring Scott Huff? My one word is solid. There's no complaints from me about this hiring at all. Everything just hits the marks when it comes to this hiring for me. It's a solid hiring. What is your one-word reaction? Let us know in our pinned comment today on the hiring here of Scott Huff. Today's show is sponsored by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you'll want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free, just like Chat Sports did with me and Smitty. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn also knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. Post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/NFL Daily. That's LinkedIn.com/NFL Daily to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Now, the task at hand for Scott Huff of what he inherits with this Seattle Seahawks offensive line is a tall task at that. Specifically, the interior of the offensive line. The Seahawks had one of the worst offensive lines in all of football last year and had a lot of problems when it came to the guard and center positions. And a lot of injuries certainly didn't help either. If you recall, week 1, you lost Cross and Lucas, and really that just kind of put you behind the 8 ball for the rest of the year. The returning offensive linemen, as of right now, There are 5 players under contract for Seattle in 2024 on the offensive line. Charles Cross, Stone Forsythe, Olu Oluwatimi, Anthony Bradford, and Abraham Lucas. Now, there could be others that ultimately end up coming back, but at least for now, these are the 5 that we know are going to be back at the moment. And you look at Cross, Bradford, Lucas, Olu, you got some young potential pieces to work with, but obviously you need more, and then you still need to develop more as well. You look at the grades last year of these 5 individuals, they weren't much to write home about necessarily. Charles Cross had the best offensive grade at 67.6, pass block grade at 69.7. But then you look at a guy like Anthony Bradford, for example. His grade wasn't great, 51.7, with a run block grade of 58.5. Abraham Lucas struggled in pass blocking last year. Just kind of shaky numbers across the board. But one thing to think about here with Scott Huff and Ryan Grubb coming in is that the Seahawks are going to be running this air raid scheme, and I'm sure it's going to be adapted for the NFL accordingly. But you think about the air raid, traditionally speaking, it's very pass heavy. And when you look at the starting tackles for Seattle, Charles Cross, as well as Abraham Lucas, in their college days, they played in air raid pass heavy schemes with Cross when he was at Mississippi State and Abraham Lucas when he was at Washington State. And there was a transition of sorts for both of them as they came to the NFL of really having to develop as run blockers. So this is more what they're accustomed to. I think those 2 are the big beneficiaries of these hires that have been made to go with Grubb and Huff as far as that goes. How would you grade the hiring? I got my grade that I'm going to give you here in just a moment, but what I hear from you guys first, A, B, C, D, or F, let us know how you would grade the hiring. Folks, so we are closing in on 50,000 subscribers here on Seahawks Today. I told you when we reached 50K that we'll take it even a step further. We did the Gatorade bath at 30K. I'm thinking we need to do in Seahawks, tradition of sorts, a boot bath of sorts. Maybe you guys can just spill beer on me with boots or something. We'll make it happen. Subscribe now for the latest happenings in your favorite team. We continue to cover this coaching search. We had our first mock draft come out over the weekend. We're talking trades, free agency, and more. Your off-season headquarters is right here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. My grade, as I said at the top of the show, there's not much to complain about. You could argue, not NFL experience, whatever, but I mean, you can only deal with the hand you're dealt. And for me, everything checks the boxes when it comes to Huff. It's an A grade for me. You look at the coaching staff now in Seattle, and so far it's looking pretty dang good, if I'd say so myself. Mike Macdonald at head coach, Leslie Frazier as assistant head coach, Ryan Grubb as OC, Aiden Dirty as defensive coordinator, Jay Harbaugh as special teams coordinator, Kirk Olavedade as linebackers coach, and Scott Huff now as offensive line coach. Still some more jobs to fill on the coaching staff, but it's the big things have been taken care of. It's all starting to come together of sorts for the Seahawks. If you enjoyed today's show and you loved that Niners loss last night, as we did, like today's video. We certainly appreciate it, and we will see you later on here on Seahawks Today.